The Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 goes to a brave and committed champion of peace, to a woman who keeps the flame of democracy burning amidst a growing darkness. The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 to Maria Corina Machado.
Joining us from the Norwegian capital is Unni Turrettini. She's a lawyer and the author of Betraying the Nobel, the secrets and corruption behind the Nobel Peace Prize. Really good to have you with us. Firstly, can I get your reaction to this year's winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, the Venezuelan democracy activist?
Thank you, Oscar, for having me. Yes, this year's prize, I would say, is a safe. One of those safe prizes that the Nobel Peace Prize Committee selects, especially in a world where there's a lot of controversy right now, and also controversy around the Nobel Peace Prize, and a lot of talks about it, and perhaps giving it to Donald Trump. And a lot of the prizes given in previous years have been controversial. So this, I would say, is a pretty safe bet where the committee is not going to get a lot of criticism for it. Now, there are some issues with this prize, I would say. First of all, Alfred Nobel created the Nobel Peace Prize from his last will in 1895. And he was very specific about what was going to be considered as peace. And so he said that the prize should go to the person who has done the most for fraternity between nations, for reduction of standing armies, and the promotion of peace congresses. Now, this year's winner has promoted democracy and peace within her own country. So there's no other country involved in this. Now, you could argue that the world has evolved, obviously, and the committee should be able to also evolve the definition of peace. But that's one of the things that with a legal document like a legal last will, you actually have to go the legal route in order to change it. So that is one of the issues with this year's prize, as I see.
Yes, as we know from your work, you've been quite critical of some of the practices behind the awarding of the Nobel Peace Prize. You mentioned that in recent years there's been a few controversies regarding how the award has been given. I want to ask you about when Barack Obama received the award in 2009, a few months basically into his presidency. A lot of people were questioning why he received the award before he actually did anything. Why was that award controversial that year, in your view?
That's an excellent question, and that year's prize was the reason why I wrote Betraying the Nobel. So that was the part of what what made me dig into the whole prize and discovering how the committee has really betrayed Alfred Nobel's last will numerous times, and the prize to Obama was one of them. And that's not to say anything that Obama wasn't perhaps deserving of the prize, but he wasn't deserving of the prize at the time they nominated him. He had been in office less than 2 weeks when he was nominated on February 1st. And he had been in office less than 8 months and he hadn't accomplished any of the things that the Nobel Committee said that he had in October when they announced the prize, and it was hugely criticized. And Barack Obama himself was hesitating whether he should actually accept it or not. So it was all a bit embarrassing.
Yes, if we look ahead to next year's awards, I mentioned that the various world leaders who claim to have nominated Donald Trump for the award most likely submitted their nominations after the cutoff date of January 31st of this year for this year's awards. Do you expect Trump to be in serious consideration for next year's prize?
Well, if he is nominated for next year's prize, then he must be considered. All nominees are considered for that specific year's prize, and they will look. Obviously, they will look at the things that he have done in the past, and they will also look at now. Specifically, it's very interesting. This ceasefire in Gaza. Will it lead to lasting peace? Will it be short-termed? I think we will have to see what happens there. Now, when it comes to President Trump, as opposed to President Obama was someone who the Norwegian government really liked. They wanted him to win that election. It was just his background, the way he was speaking was very much in line with the values of the Norwegian government. And as we know, the 5-person Nobel Committee are selected by the Norwegian Parliament, so they have very strong ties to Norwegian politics and the major parties who have been very critical toward Trump. And just looking at the media coverage and what the Norwegian government and everyone here in Europe are saying about Trump, it's very, very critical. And it's and I said this the last time when Trump was nominated, that he had done more than Obama to win the prize, to be eligible to win the prize, but he hasn't won it. And that is because the Norwegian Nobel Committee doesn't like him. Now, that might change slightly because I don't think he will, but Trump has, when he was president the last time, he did suggest that he might pull the U.S. out of NATO. And that would be very dire for the Norwegian country, because we depend on NATO to be able to defend ourselves against Russia. And that is the only thing that prevents probably Putin from taking over Norway and other countries here. So we are very dependent on NATO. And without the US and NATO, we don't have a strong chance. So if Trump will suggest or perhaps threaten to pull the US out of NATO, then they might give it to him to strengthen the ties with the U.S., which is not a far-fetched idea, because that the Norwegian Committee has done several times before, given it to political figures and heads of state in the U.S. in order to strengthen the ties and to strengthen Norway's position in the world.
Okay, Unni Turrettini, we will have to leave it there, but it's really good to get your analysis. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.